Hi, I'm David Wolf. Welcome to the third video in our 7-video series, The 7 Principles for Fulfilling Relationships. It's a common experience for me and people I work with, and I think for practically everyone, that when we tend to break our agreements and people don't keep their promises to us, we feel hurt, maybe betrayed, the trust goes down, confidence goes down. And when we tend to keep our promises and people keep their commitments to us, then we create a high trust culture and we feel clean, clear, solid in the relationship. And it is said that in the beginning was the Word. And so just as the Supreme creates with His Word, we can productively look at what are we creating with our Word in our life. In the Satvatove seminars that I've developed and I present around the world, we give a powerful space, a powerful opportunity for people to take a look at their relationship with their Word and the effect that it's having on their life. There's a book I really appreciated from medieval India. It's called The Nectar of Instruction. And that book, it actually culminates in a description of the deepest, highest spiritual realization. And where it starts, there's a Sanskrit phrase, bacho vegam, which means what we're doing with our Word. So what we're doing with our Word is so integral with regards to our spiritual development, our self-realization, the quality of our relationship with ourselves and others. So, despite our best efforts, we will find that sometimes we don't keep our agreements. I'd like to present a strategy. For restoring our integrity if we find that we have not kept our commitment, we haven't kept our word. I call the strategy the 5 A's. Now the first A is to acknowledge that we broke an agreement. And along with acknowledging this, there is an empathy component, meaning I also acknowledge the effect of the broken agreement. Like I acknowledge I broke an agreement, and I understand that probably your trust for me has gone down. Perhaps you feel betrayed. And in this regard, I'd like to present, there's not big agreements or small agreements. That if I say, I'll call you tomorrow at 10, and I don't call you, I say, well, it's no big thing. I said I'd call her, I didn't call. Well, at some level, your trust for me is going to go down. My own self-confidence is going to be affected. There's an example I use with, if we put a grain of sand in the carburetor of our car, then the car works fine. Now, if we make a habit of putting 1 grain of sand per day in the carburetor, and we find after a year we have a broken car. Similarly, if we make a habit of not keeping our agreements, supposedly big or small, after a few months, a few years, we find we have relationships that don't work, a life that doesn't function. Acknowledge is the first A. The second A is to accept responsibility. It means I fully 100% accept responsibility. I made a commitment, and I responded or didn't respond in a particular way that resulted in me not keeping my commitment. I'm not blaming. The third A is to account. And to account, it's not about defending or excusing or justifying. It's that we give an honest explanation of what happened. And an honest explanation of what happened. Maybe in some rare circumstances, the honest explanation what might show me in a complimentary light. Like, let's say, if I said, I'll meet you at noon, and I get there at 2 p.m. And what actually happened is I stopped on the side of the road and I saved someone's life. That's why I didn't keep my commitment. Now, in that situation, did I keep my agreement? No, I didn't. But in that particular situation, maybe I actually served a higher principle. And so perhaps the common effects of breaking agreements won't be there, like your trust for me goes down. Usually, though, the accountable explanation is less complimentary. Like, I was watching a TV show and I spaced out, or I used the money for something else, so I didn't pay it back on time. So acknowledge, accept responsibility, account. The fourth A is apologize. And naturally, sincere remorse is a part of restoring our integrity. Sometimes, though, we can act as if apology is the first and only A and not the fourth A. Like, oh, well, I said I'm sorry. Apology often can be more about me wanting to look good rather than actually repairing our relationship. Apology can be almost like an escape hatch, a loophole. Now I can do it again. I said I'm sorry. So apology has its natural, healthy place. It comes after, though, after the first three A's, acknowledging, accepting, and account for what happened. We apologize, and the fifth A is amend, that we do what we can to rectify the situation. Perhaps we offer to the other person, what can I do to make it up to you? We don't want to put the burden on the other person to come up with something, but we might offer that. So I encourage you, as a personal growth exercise, to note, maybe even keep a journal about, at least mentally note, your relationship with your word for the next week. Notice what it's like when you keep an agreement, when someone breaks their agreement to you, when someone keeps their agreement with you. Note what that's like. And if you find that you don't keep your agreement in some instance, to employ this 5A strategy and see what that's like. Also, I ask, again, as a personal growth exercise, to make some commitment, make some promise that you know will challenge you. It will be enriching, healthy for your personal growth, to expand your boundaries in any area. Maybe it's health, maybe it's relationships, maybe it's your spiritual practice, maybe it's financial. Make some promise and keep it, and notice your experience. Thank you.